Listen up, Rangers. Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve.
My name's Arnes.
And we wanted to get a movie review out. I know it's not Friday, but we wanted something until we finally get around to doing the 1998 Godzilla movie. Which, did you record the video, by the way?
No.
Anyways.
It's okay. You should be used to me failing you by now.
You think I'd get over it? So anyways, today we're going to be going over Pacific Rim, because for some odd reason we haven't talked about it on this channel yet.
And that's like half of our channel is like that.
Yeah, like super. That's pretty much what got people watching our channel, was Pacific Rim for the most part.
So weird.
Then it started transitioning into the monster art stuff and the aliens. So my Pacific Rim figures up there were putting some good work on the channel. So we figured we'd talk about the movie today.
The Atlantic Rim?
I'm not watching it.
Well, we're doing the next.
Nope.
That's a next week's review movie.
Nope.
Yeah, we are.
Nope, we're hoping we can do 98. Because, right, today, I'm getting a house inspected. So I might have a place. Which means I can stop looking for a place so I can start concentrating on more stuff. Until the move. Then that'll be fun.
Yeah, you have no idea, people. Trust me.
Yeah, there's like 3 rooms of action figures I gotta move. And this room is the light room, technically. The one adjacent to us is the one that has the most figures in it.
It's okay. It's mostly Transformers. Who gives a crap about that?
Transformers, anime figures, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. By Transformer figures, he means a lot of them. Plus some random movie memorabilia figures and props.
What we're going to do is we're going to buy you a huge box. And then there's those like bubble wrap boxes, which you put inside of a box. Put a layer of toys, and you put a wrap on top of it, and like you layer it like that.
And the next room over there has all my alien stuff in it and Five Nights at Freddy's.
Now that's the ones where we're gonna aliens at least, wrap them once at a time.
Oh, I see how it is. Don't worry about the Godzilla stuff, but man, it's transformed. Fucking box. Also, the reason why we wanted to talk about Pacific Rim is they finally announced a sequel coming out at the end of 2018. Finally.
So long way.
Yeah, it's not like the movie didn't come out in 2013. It's only 5 years later. God, it's like the Godzilla movie. So here you go. Here's one movie. You have to wait for the rest of your franchise. But Marvel gets like 2 films a year. Not you Kaiju fans. We're just lucky we got the Japanese Godzilla movie to kind of tantalize us until the rest of them that comes out like later towards the end of 2010s.
Isn't King Kong like 2020 now or something like that?
No, he's next year. We do get him. But King Kong versus Godzilla is 2020.
Yeah,
that's the one we're waiting on. And then there's going to be another Godzilla movie beforehand, but I think that actually got pushed till 2019?
2000, who
or is
knows?
it 18? Somewhere. We'll also get Power Rangers next year, I guess. That's something, too. Hopefully it's good. Anyways, if you guys haven't seen Pacific Rim, again, came out in 2013, where a rift appears at the bottom of the Pacific Rim. Go figure. And giant monsters come out of it and try to wreck civilization. They do a pretty good job. We decide to build Yegas, which are giant robotic mechs, to fight the Kaijus. Works for a little bit, then starts failing again. And that's where the film begins, is them failing. And we're just going to go over the film, because if you guys know, we really love this movie. I love it personally. I think Pacific Rim is an awesome film.
God, if you're watching this, you really gotta love the movie. I mean, you know what I mean?
Not really. You get some people that go into this blindly. That are just like, it's giant robots fighting monsters. Let's see how it happens. Which I gotta say, this is probably one of my more recent favorite blockbuster movies to come out. Like, I don't think there's ever been a movie that I was more excited to see and thoroughly happy with than Pacific Rim.
It's been a while.
And I'm even talking about, like, Marvel movies that come out since then. There hasn't really been much that's, like, got me, like, full-blown going. Like, after the movie, I was like, I gotta go buy the figures, man.
You know what the sad thing is? I was actually excited to go watch Predator movie, the new one, you know?
Yeah, well, that one wasn't bad. Well, also, that came out later.
Yeah. But, you know, I'm just saying, though, like, it's been a while since there's been a movie that got me pumped up like Pacific
Yeah,
Rim.
because for the most part, a lot of the movies are like, I guess 2014 Godzilla, I was pretty excited about. Because the trailers got me excited, but I think it was one of those situations where it's Godzilla, so I was going to be excited no matter what.
No matter what.
But with Pacific Rim, it was such a new franchise that you're going into it blind. You don't know what to expect. It's just I seen trailers of giant robots punching monsters. But it looked amazing. And had Guillermo del Toro assigned to it, which, love that guy's movies. Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, really good. Crimson Peak was... we don't talk about that one. I even like Blade 2.
Everybody has their failures, you know.
It's one of those movies, like, it looks pretty, but the story fell a little bit flat for me. So needless to say, there was a lot for the movie, even without seeing enough of the film in the trailers. I was really excited to go see it. Especially since we haven't really had a giant monster movie since Cloverfield. And even that was like, I liked the movie, but it has its ups and downs for me, just like we explained in the review for it. So for like the beginning of the film, love how they introduced the movie, because at the beginning they explain what's going on, the story behind it, and where we get to with the attack on Alaska. The Anchorage attack scene, where you have Riley and his brother super excited to go fight them some kaijus. In Gypsy Danger, they get into it, walk into the harbor, talking about, oh man, we can fight the typhoons. Moseying all along, they go to save the shipping boat. And then Knifehead appears, which is probably one of my favorite introductions to a monster in a movie.
God, yes.
Oh, I love it. Like, Knifehead, like, most kaijus for me anyways, don't got nothing on Knifehead.
You know, I'm wondering, like, if that ship was never there, would they have successfully beat the Knifehead? Like,
well, yeah, if he wasn't worried about the ship,
that's what I
think
mean.
he would have been fine. Well, then again, it's one of those instances where you see how the Jaegers were failing because they were getting too overconfident. Because you kind of see that in the fight where they start fighting Knifehead, they're getting the upper hand. It's a pretty cool clash. It's happening in the rain and the water. They're holding onto the boat, and they finally get around into Knifehead and dispatch him. And then find out Knifehead wasn't taken care of. And then Knifehead comes back, almost destroys them, and they pretty much take out each other in unison. Gypsy still kind of makes it out, but just enough to make it to the beach and fall crashing over. And also kills Riley's brother in the process. Yahtzee. His brother Yahtzee.
Which, I wasn't too impressed by his brother. Like, I was okay with one of him as a character dying, you know?
Yeah, I guess it was one of those situations where I was like, well, there he goes, when he's like, out of the Gypsy's helmet.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
But it sets up some like motivation for Riley's character a little bit later in the movie.
To build a wall?
Yes. Because we gotta build walls, man.
Trump.
Gotta keep those kaijus out.
Take a lesson from this. It will fail.
And with that whole sequence, you realize at the beginning of the movie that the Jaegers might not always win the fights. Because even at the beginning, he technically beat Knifehead, but didn't really make it out on top.
No.
And they even explain it's cost too much to repair the Jaegers, because if all these Jaegers are failing or coming back messed up to hell, how are you going to be able to afford keeping them up in maintenance? So they decide to put up walls to keep the kaijus away from the major cities. And most of the people are starting to flock inward. Well, you also find out early on that the walls aren't working either, because the monster Mutavor breaks through the wall in Sydney and gets defeated by Striker Eureka, who actually kicks the crap out of that kaiju.
Yeah, he does, which was like surprising, you know?
Yep. And it was actually really cool to see, because he's like one of the brand new mechs, going to town on him. Probably the most like Japanese looking of all the mechs that we got to see. Goes to town on Mutavor. He explains, well, the reason why the program failed is because the pilots sucked. Which, from what we saw, the pilots were actually doing good, but fights can be unpredictable and people getting cocky. So Stalker decides to enlist the help of Riley again, because you find out that Gypsy is fully repaired, because they want to make one more attempt on taking out the breach, which is where the kaijus are coming from. So you get a little bit of story about him getting to interact with some of the other pilots, and you also get to meet his co-pilot Mako, which they have a little fight sequence, which is actually pretty cool. Which is probably like the most anime thing I've ever seen is her. She's such an anime she's even got like the little like color and restraint, which I guess if you watch the behind the scenes, that's where you got the inspiration for it. Really? Yeah, like she's supposed to be like the anime character in the movie. Which, thank you very much. That's why I love this guy, because he was really in love with those old shows like Voltron and stuff, which is what gave him the inspiration for the movie. And same with the Power Rangers, stuff like that, which I feel this movie gets a lot more inspiration for it than Godzilla. Even though the way the monsters, some of them are introduced, and even Knifehead having more resemblance to some of the Gamera monsters.
He definitely does, dude. And you can tell.
Yeah, you get a lot of similarities running with the movie. And then a lot of stuff builds up. You find out Riley and... Oh, what the heck's the Striker Eureka's pilot's name? Somebody's like, Riley. This is how I know I really hated his character, because I really didn't care about him.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We'll just call him the Eureka Striker pilots.
Eureka
I really
Striker
hated that
pilot.
guy.
Him and his father that piloted him.
Only thing I liked about them was their dog.
I feel so bad. Oh yeah, the little guy was adorable. Little bulldog.
No, you don't have to feel bad, dude. That guy was freaking douche. He does not deserve us knowing his name.
Yeah. I also love the Russian pilots. The ones that piloted Cherno Alpha.
My favorite.
Straight from Rocky 4. Awesome. The Chinese pilots, which I still don't know what was up with them. There was just like 3 of them.
Some kind of Wing Brothers or something like that.
Yeah. They had a formation that was supposed to be like unbeatable. And then you had the other story going with the 2 scientists with Newt trying to figure out a way to interact with the kaijus, because he finds out that they're actually clones, and if they're clones, somebody has to be making them. So he wants to drift with the kaijus in order to find out like where their secret base is, or how to even interact with the breach, which they failed at taking out so many
get through,
times.
but nothing else can.
Where he's trying to get information from Hannibal Chow,
AKA
Ron Perlman. My favorite performance in the movie. It's so good. So he's just trying to get a specimen from him in order to drift with it, because they tried to drift previously. Didn't really succeed, but they get a little bit of information, which is mainly where they find out about the engineers or the alien species that's cloning them. But he wants a good sample in order to drift with. Which Chow brings up the idea that it's not a good idea to have drift because it's a 2-way street. So now we have 2 kaijus trying to hunt him down. And then we get the epic Hong Kong brawl sequence.
Which is also like one of my favorite scenes, like especially like the whole... It pretty much reminds you of Godzilla scenes, like when everybody's running away from the monsters into like the safety thing.
Yeah, especially when Otachi's rampaging through the city.
Yeah.
But here's the problem I have with this film, is this one sequence here, primarily, is that you have 3 Jaegers fighting 2 kaijus, which you had Striker Eureka sitting on the back foot because he's the one that has to run the bomb in order to take out the breach, so they sent out the 2 other Jaegers to take him on, with Cherno Alpha, who's a first model Jaeger.
Which, I don't know how he could lose. He's freaking amazing. He's one of the originals and still around.
And heaviest.
Yeah.
And then you have Crimson Typhoon, who's the Chinese mech. And they get dispatched pretty quickly. Like, they get to do a couple of fancy moves for the most part, but for how much of a build-up you had of them talking about how awesome these mechs are, they don't really demonstrate it.
Yeah, no they don't.
Which does also help, though, with to show off the dire circumstances that they're in, though. Because there's a reason why they stopped using the mechs. And that kind of showcases.
Like, I get it, but still, though, there was such a build-up to these guys, they should have had a bigger fight scene.
Even if there was maybe, like, one other kaiju that they could have tossed in just for them to dispatch. And then the other ones are like, hey, 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 and then go into the fight and take care of them. That would have been cool, and then give us another reason for Stryker to actually move in on the fight. But they get dispatched. Stryker starts putting up a fight. Leatherback uses his EMP, disables them. And now they have to get Gypsy Danger in to fight. He fights Leatherback, ends up beating it, which is like pretty much a giant King Kong clash, which was pretty cool. Especially when they're fighting on the docks and smashing him with the freight containers and dumping the clip into his stomach. That part was really cool. And then we have the fight with Otachi, which I love the score for Otachi because it's definitely very Godzilla-esque.
Definitely.
And then you have them fighting, where you have them knocking through the buildings and the whole fist going in and touching the little swinging pendulum thing, which was kind of stupid but awesome at the same time. And then you find out that Otachi can fly. There's that whole sequence, which didn't make much sense to me. I think it's cool that he flew, but it also kind of bothered me that the 2 pilots are drifting, so their minds are together. But they didn't realize, Riley didn't realize that they had a sword.
There is a lot.
Like, really? Could have used this a while ago? Seems kind of useful. I guess things that try to punch you.
Few imperfections in the movie.
Yeah. Then you have the final sequence where you have Stryker and Gypsy going towards the breach in order to take it out with a nuclear detonation pack on the back of Stryker. But they find out after he drifts with the dead baby Otachi, which is also a pretty fun scene. Also really gross.
But I like that thing. It's amazing.
They also ate Chow.
Aww. God, I hope he's back in the next one. I don't care how. I just
Please.
want
Well, he shows up at the end of the credits. Or in the middle of the credits, he cuts out. He said, "Where's my damn shoe?"
I want him back.
I want his toy. Where's my Hannibal Chow toy, NECA? I know you can't do it anymore, but I want it.
God, I'll pay for that.
I would have.
Everybody wants Ron Perlman as a toy.
Heck yes. But they find out after drifting with the dead baby Otachi that it's not going to work. They have to have a Kaiju signature in order to go through the breach. And now we have also a 3-on-2 fight with 2 Yegas, and then we have the 3 Kaijus. Let's see if I can remember them. It's Slaturn. You have Schooner.
Schooner.
And Raiju. Raiju is the last one.
I don't remember the last one.
He's the crocodile-ish guy.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
It's Raiju.
Raichu?
Raiju.
Raichu. So he does electrical attacks in water? Sweet.
I wish. That would have been cool. But we have Schooner, who doesn't really put up much of a fight other than he does disable Gypsy's leg. Same with Raiju for the most part. Also only takes out his other arm. But he's like the fastest swimmer out of the group. Also probably the dorkiest looking Kaiju out of all of them.
That's why I don't remember.
He looked really cool because he has like that crocodile face. But when he opened it up to that small tiny head, he's like, "Rah!" And that was the part of the movie where I was like, kill it. Kill it with fire. He cuts it in half, so close enough. But, God, I just hated that thing. It's one of those, like, I kind of want a toy of it, but I kind of don't.
Like, it's something I want, but I don't think I can force myself to pay for it.
I'd buy it if they would have made one. And then we have Slaturn, who is the Category 5 Kaiju. The biggest bad boy of them all. He's actually like Godzilla size, I guess.
Really?
Yep. He's the closest one to Godzilla size. He's huge. Also, it doesn't put up much of a fight either. I gotta say.
So he's a Godzilla from 1960s where he just loses really quickly and...
The 60s one's probably like the most badass of all the Godzillas because he never lost. Except the Moths.
Yeah, I was about to say, oh, wait a minute.
If anything, I would say... it's actually hard to compare him to a Godzilla because they all have pretty...
Which one would... Oh, God, I can't remember the movie name, but it's the one where he loses and then gets struck by lightning and becomes strong.
Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla?
Was that the one?
Because that's the one where he fights his doppelganger. But I know it's Mechagodzilla, falls into the water, and he has to go on the island and bzz, 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 and then he shows up and King's his arse fighting Mechagodzilla. Because the only other one is Godzilla versus Sea Monster, which that was like the most one-sided fight ever.
Yeah, Godzilla.
But he got woken up because of the lightning.
Yeah, that's the one.
Back to the story. So they end up killing, or Gypsy kills Slaturn after Stryker Eureka does a Vegeta and explodes himself trying to defeat our Majin Buu character.
Which I never understood that part. Was that really necessary? Like,
well, Slaturn's like the biggest kaiju. They weren't... Doesn't seem like they were going to beat him. And Gypsy's already hurt. So, it's the best option. But then again, it also didn't make much sense because he's like, hey, throw yourself in the breach so you don't need him anymore because Gypsy can blow himself up. So, it makes sense. But then again, you think they would have been alright.
yeah, exactly.
They were doing pretty good at the beginning. So, Gypsy takes Slaturn's carcass, goes to the breach, and explodes himself. End of the movie. Everybody's A-okay except for everybody that died. Previously, anyways.
Which was a lot of people, by the way.
Which, yep, Stalker went. Which made me sad. I kind of want to if there's one time I actually wanted a precursor to the movies, like a prequel, it's one about Stalker.
Yeah, I want to know.
I want to know more about him before he got the radiation sickness.
Hell, even like that preview where it goes back, like shows him fighting the crab people monster, you know?
Yeah, Onibaba.
Yeah, like that thing was amazing.
Where you learn about Mako's backstory.
Yeah, like I would definitely watch that movie. Like, why couldn't we have that?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Another idea for a movie, people. Thank you. You are welcome. Legendary. I had to think for the company for a second. And for the most part, I really love all the fight sequences in this movie. The only thing that really falls a little bit flat on me is some of the character development. Like, Riley overall is a pretty cool character, but he has a few sequences in the movie where it just doesn't really work out that well for me. Because there's the point where his brother dies when they fight Knifehead, so he's building the wall because he doesn't want to pilot a Jaeger anymore. He can't take the stress of it. And then Stalker's like, well, would you rather be here building a wall or die inside of a Jaeger? And he's like, okay, I guess dying inside of a Jaeger sounds really good. And he goes right back into piloting again. Like nothing happened. Do you think that maybe would have brought up some more traumatic experiences throughout the course of the movie? Because there's only that really one scene where he has that little flashback, and that's what fudges up Mako.
Yeah.
And then she goes down the rabbit hole and gets chased by Onibaba.
Which is a cool part. This is my favorite kaiju, guys.
He's cool. Another one I wouldn't mind another figure of. And then we get that whole sequence where she's about to like shoot everybody with the plasma cannon. Which she's like doing like the no.
Which there was no surviving that, people.
Which I don't understand how this activates the gun.
Yeah, it's
because she's in, so she top cup. I don't know. Science.
some Dragon Ball Z thing, man. There's got to be somebody shoots,
I guess so. It's the anime character, so
yeah.
That's how this is gonna work. And there's a few sequences like that, and most of the other characters, other than I'd say Rowley, Stalker, and Mako, aren't really built up that much. Like Newt, a little bit, and Chow, I know enough about him. And it's mainly just because I like Ron Perlman is the only reason I really gravitate towards that character as much. All that scene where they're showing like all the pieces of the kaijus is pretty cool, though. I will admit.
Yeah, that's just it. I wasn't invested in the characters as much as I should have been.
For the most part, there's some like here and there. Like Riley is a good enough character where I'm gonna follow him throughout the movie, but it's mainly like the visuals and the spectacle is really what keeps me coming back to the movie more so than the characters. Like I even like the story, like how it's progressed. It's just there's certain little like hiccups and stuff that I maybe wish they would have spent a little bit more time with than maybe certain other sequences in the film.
I want to know more about the Russian guys. They were amazing.
It also would have maybe been nice to actually have one more kaiju fight. Like something in the middle of Hong Kong and Anchorage. Or sorry, Sydney. Even if like they kept the Hong Kong brawl where Cherno and Crimson Typhoon get their butts handed to them, maybe have like one other fight in between to kind of showcase and show us how awesome Cherno and Crimson Typhoon
Yeah, that's what
were.
I meant. That's what I was going to say. Like there should have been like a little battle with these. Just them two, or just at least one of them to show us.
Yeah, maybe even like the kaiju's like testing the waters in that area because maybe they have some kind of understanding that this is where the final confrontation is going to be. Maybe even try to write that into the story a little bit. But something just to kind of keep the action going because it does slow down a little bit when they're trying to build up more of the characters and the reasoning why they're trying to get Mako and Riley to pilot together. Because I think those sequences, they kind of bang that nail on the head a little bit too much.
There was like no reason for like that whole test fight thing that they had, with Riley and the random people.
Well, I guess that's mainly there to help kind of show that they can work together.
Yeah, but still, though, like I would have been just fine with him and Mako trying it for first time. And
Well, I think probably what maybe helped me there is maybe had them together, like have the testing it at the beginning, and then we get to the fight, and then they can start building up character after that, and then they finally succeed. Because to me, it kind of seemed weird that they do the fight, they're like, oh hey, we're drift compatible, we fought, we know this, which also doesn't make sense because how the drift was supposed to work is you're supposed to have a bond, and they just met and they fought with sticks, so that works, I guess.
It feels like we missed a little bit there somewhere.
And then we go to them failing the test, and then they're banned, but then they have to get back together, and then all of a sudden it works perfectly. And I wish there was some I wish they would have done that in like reverse order, or like shuffled it up at least a little bit to make that scenes make a little bit more sense. Because have them fail and then build up, not build up, fail, and then just
Succeed.
skip over the failure.
Like we said, there's few imperfections to this movie, but still,
Yeah, still overall, I really recommend it to kaiju fans in general, or people that grew up with 90s TV shows like Power Rangers, Superhuman Samurai, Cyber Squad, Big Bad Beetleborgs. You will love Pacific Rim.
Definitely, like if you grew up in the 90s, It's your thing. Trust us.
And if you just like kaiju movies, Ultraman, Voltron, and most animes in general. Also, if you're a Guillermo del Toro fan, it's probably, I'd say, easily his next best films next to the Hellboy franchise.
Yeah, it's right there, man.
Yeah, it's pretty close to me for those ones. I say Pan's Labyrinth's probably the best movie he's put out, like in terms of a movie. But I still love how fun Hellboys are. And Pacific Rim's definitely there with the Hellboys.
It's on a par for sure.
Well, what do you guys think of Pacific Rim? Please let us know in the comment section below. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button. Subscribe, become a ranger today. See you guys in the next movie. Bye.